flowers and holding hands and doing the things that other cultures do. We as black people, we don't really do these sort of things. Our parents never really done it. We never really see that happening in our community, you know. If you can turn around, if someone's in a relationship now and say, Kat, how many times your partner's bought you flowers, and you can count it as under 10, don't you think that straight away we can see what are the things to say, you know, how many times did you ring your partner today to say, how you doing? What type of day did you have? I missed you. I love you. All these little things that possibly are the building blocks, right, for being sustainable and stable. But when you come from this ego side, well, where's my dinner? You know, that type of thing.
No, so but you see, I see where you're going with this, and you got yeah, I see where you're going, and you're on point. There's a truth in what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you think that's important that people that you're buying flowers, that you love her or you're careful and ringing her so many times a day.
Do you want?
I'm just want.
All right. Do you want me to go further? When was the last time you cooked a meal for a woman? When you know the things that you could say. Right. Let's define romance then. Okay. Because if you're not romantic, what are you then doing? You're just meeting someone, knocking boots. Next minute you say, boy, I don't like them no more, because then it's only afterwards that you're finding about the person.
Right. No, then,
you understand?
But what we're saying here,
Dougie,
now, right?
Be careful how you answer Supreme's questions. Like he's trying to finish a man's career tonight, you know.
Hold on. So what we're saying here is then, right? What we're saying here is then, right? Because you're talking about something different. You're talking about romance now, right? And that is where, again, right? This is where you remember we talking about the love school, right? Because you're right. Because you did start by saying that, you know, we've been taught a certain way of this ego, and don't forget, a lot of do with maturity as well. Because a lot of things we do, we see other people do. It's like learned behavior, right? It's only when you start to you get to what's what I'm looking for now? You get to overstand, not supposed to overstand. You get to say, well, all right then. You sit down now and you look at this thing here, or you've been taught by someone. This what you should be doing for your sister. This is the responsibility you should do, your role, etc. You've really got to be sat down and taught these things here. You know, because you did ask me the question, how many times I've bought flowers, and it's about, I want to say no more than 5 times. You know, how many times I've
You said 3.
Yeah.
You recording the show?
No more than.
Okay. All right.
You know. So one Bridget, you try to think for me. Look at
Dougie, I told you he's trying to finish a man's love life tonight.
You try to think, right? Right. But you see, the thing is this, right? Right. The question you need to ask most men, right? Right. All right. How many men do you know who will have a hot bath, have candles, right? Have a glass of wine, and read a romantic book? You know, I heard I said read a romantic book. You know, we're not programmed that kind of way there. We're just not programmed that kind of way there. You see what I'm saying, right? So all this now, right? We have to be programmed a certain way of really romantic our woman. That's why the whole thing about love school and all thing come into play. See, so you're on the right track, you know, Bridget. But you see, the thing is that again, it's how we've been programmed. It's how we've been conditioned a certain way of thinking.
Yeah, I want to give Minty a chance and Jammers a chance, because I also wanted to move forward when, just kind of jumping ahead, that when I used to believe that what a woman wants in the relationship to me was commitment, and that commitment was to hear, I want to marry you. Yeah. So marriage was the ultimate goal really in a relationship. Technically, that's the ultimate to say, all right, let's say more time when you see a couple together for more than 2-3 years, you say, oh, you getting married? Oh, he hasn't asked me and I don't think so. So what is that saying about that relationship, that there's an area of possibly, I'm no love guru like Dougie, that complacency is kicked in? Because really, your ultimate goal is that commitment of marriage, which the marriage vows says, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. So, I'm not saying, and I'm not endorsing that everybody who's gone into 3 years should be looking to get married, but I'm saying, just like Dougie says every week, look on your relationship like a business. So, if you're looking at it from that aspect, right, let's say you're 21 now, Minty. You're gonna say, well, I want to get married, I want to have children, and that is your dream relation, or technically should be the dream. But what we tend to do, maybe I'm just running sweeping statements, is that we have the children, we hate the person that we had the children for, we've gone from one destructive relationship, then we jump in another one, and it probably has that same pattern, you know. So, you know, I'm just trying to...
Yeah, I think that basically we haven't been culturalized in relationships, and you're right, bro. If you think about the Jewish community in Stamford Hill, there's a process before they get married. There's counseling, there's people to advise them. There's a whole process, the same in the Asian community. Because we've lost so much of our culture, you're absolutely right, bro. There is no process or rites of marriage passage, if you like. We don't have that. So I think that that's part of the problem. Our relationships. No, can I finish? No, it's okay, thanks. Every time I think I'll be grabbing the mic off you, bro. But I just think. No, but I just think that it's going back to what you were saying about the dance. I remember you mentioned about the blues parties, and then you just meet a partner in the dark. You don't really get to know them. Yeah. This is why I was want to just go back to that concept of friendship, because if you don't know them, that's the part of the problem, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? That's the. But don't get me wrong. When we're younger, like what you said, King, we look. It's usually the physical attraction, and actually, even when you're older, it's still a physical attraction. We're not lying. You know, me and Dougie were on West Green Road today. We saw a friend of ours. We're not going to call her name. She was beautiful. She was dressed beautifully, wasn't she? She looked beautiful, and she was dressed beautifully. Every man's going to look upon that woman. Every man, and rightly so, because she's beautiful. So the physical attraction is very much part of it. But I don't want to just be with a body. I want to be with a mind as well, bro. And that's just how I see it. Jammers.
No, I was just gonna...
Yeah, firstly, I'd like to say that the three of you, you see, while you lot were rubbing up and scrubbing and dancing up, I had to stay at home and study my book, so you're probably talking from a bit more experience than me. But I like your analogy is that like we learn, it's like when we're looking for women, it's like we jumped on the wrong bus, you know, and then we end up going in the wrong direction, and then we pick up another bus, and so it is like that for us. You know, we're not really getting, as you said, a proper way of courtship, and we have to be clear on the terms that we use. So you've got relationship, which is one thing, you've got love, which is another thing, and you've got romance, which is another. So we have to be clear on this, that there's three separate terms that we're using, and not to get them mixed up. Because basically, when you look at the elite, how they conduct themselves is they call themselves the royal family. So they're not looking at love, they're not looking at lust, and they're not looking at romance. They're looking at how can our family develop an inheritance, and how, especially how we used to do in ancient times, we used to see it's family first. So how can we build our family for the next generation?
Right. That's the interesting point. You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jammers, right? But you see, the thing is that they've been taught, they're in a culture inherit where they are taught they are royalties. You're right, and obviously you don't want to get you know then people are going on a nightclub and are going on certain things, you know what I mean, because they're taught a certain way. This the behavior, You know, this is what you expect from you. You understand what I'm saying? They're talking that kind of culture and so forth, where we just do things just willy-nilly. You know what I mean? And a Supreme expression one, you know, let's face it, most of our relationship come from, well, I can talk my experience, right? Come from dance. Go in a nightclub and you see someone and you like and you dance and you feel nice and you take the number and you have a reason and whatever kids, you know what I mean? You know, and don't forget the reason you said earlier on, Supreme, right? When we talk about if you want, first if you're a person to faith and you know and all that stuff, that if you want someone who think like you go to the same kind of meetings, you know, church. You know, if you're into education and all that kind of stuff, there, you go to parents' meetings and those kind of stuff there, because you want someone who think like you. You know, you see what I'm saying? And that's a start, right? So I mean, let's face it, we've all got a bit warped in our journey when we come to relationship. You know what I mean? I can talk about myself. You know, we just done some crazy things, and we say, "Whoa, I saw this thing I go," and you say, "No." You know, so it's all part of the journey. You wanna?
Yeah, I was just gonna put out a question, right? Knowing what you know now, right now, and you had chance to go back in time to correct the wrongs that you done, what would you do to correct the wrongs in your past relationship? If you had a chance to go back and say, you know what, well, I really like the girl, but now you're at a stage where you can't. But if you had the chance to go back, you know, because I was watching this film, and most of you lot have watched this film, Back to the Future, where the guy had to go back so that his mum and dad, that this person couldn't marry his mum to the past, yeah, but they call it Back to the Future, is it? Yeah. But it was very interesting that he knew the destiny if this did happen, so he went to correct it. So I'm just asking a question, just a theoretical. I'm trying to.
That explains why you're single, bro. Theoretical. That sounds like erotic, Bridget. That's too saucy. You know what? To answer your question, bro, I just wouldn't have made the mistakes. That's all. That's it. I just wouldn't have done them. No, some people say I've got no regrets and I wouldn't have changed, and I think people may have changed some things. I think we all would have, but to be honest, Bridget, I mean, I'm sure there's some women that you've had in your past. A woman that you would say, I wish I would have this, that. So I'm sure every one of us has been in that position. But it is what it is, isn't it, man? I can't say specifically I would have done this or would have done that differently. But what I will say is that there are one, maybe two sisters I've said, yeah, they were great sisters, and I lost out on them. But I'm not sad about it, because I look to the future anyway, to be honest, man. So, just on that note, I'm just still concerned about when he was talking about dry rubbing and he said Dougie was there, that's all I mean.
Well, if I went back, the one thing I regret and I would change is that I would have walked with a video camera. So I could have...
So don't let me say the porno. You'd want to be a porno star. So what's that got to do with it? This is a respectable and sensible program, bro. Stop blowing in the tone. What are you talking about? I want to put a video cam. What? Oh my god.
Okay.
Can I just say though, Dougie, before you come in, that I think again, it's you touched on it, Dougie, that there is no culture. When we see all this dancing, going to a dance and that, it's not Jewish or Asian culture as such. It's European culture. We're just following them. That's what it is, Dougie. And we're just everything that they've done, we do. Because when you think of when I was growing up in Liverpool, to have a baby at 18, 19 was just a normal thing. And that's what it was saying for the white community, but not in the Asian community, not in the Jewish community, Dougie, not in even the Greek community. It was unusual, but amongst black and white, it was just the same. And I'm saying that we have lost who we are, and that's what I essentially think what it is. There is no rites of marriage passage, if you like, Dougie. We haven't got a culture to say, when you meet a woman, you meet the parents first. That's standard in African culture, man. You know what I mean? Do you want to say something, Jammers? Yeah, so just things like that. I'm saying I know that's what we've lost, that idea of courting, you know, getting to know the person, getting to meet the family, being approved by the family. Because how much time have you been with the woman and you've never met the parents? Come on, man. This isn't part of the other cultures, Jewish, Asian, etc. That's what I think we've missed, Jammers.
Right now, see, I just want to break everybody's heart now. Everybody, man, woman, child, picnic, cat, dog. Basically, love is a lie that we've been sold. Yeah, it's fantasy. It's not a reality. It comes from Roman antics. Love was something that the rich people made up. This is where all the fairy tales came from, like knight in shining armor, you know, the frog turning into the king. It's all a lie, a dream. It's a fantasy. That's why people say they're in love, they're in a fantasy, they're in a dream world. So this is why we find it hard keeping a relationship, because we're trying to make the fantasy a reality. And this is why we have to really drop the Roman antic. We have to drop the love and start looking how we used to conduct themselves, how the royal family conduct themselves, how you know, the Asian community conduct themselves, which is all about family. It's about the partner who is selected through, you know, knowing the family, knowing the bloodline, knowing the character reference. I mean, they used to diss the Asian community, but here in the Western world, we've got the biggest divorce rates, the biggest wife beating, the biggest abusers, the biggest disrespect to women is in this actual environment where love is supposed to be the key. But as I said before, it's a family thing, and it's look at how the elite and how we used to conduct ourselves. It's a relationship, not love or romance.
Yeah, no, bro, and the stuff you talk about, like marriage by you know, according to family, that's very central to a lot of people. I was reading something on Facebook or WhatsApp. It said, the man says, hello, my name's, is that called? Are we going to take that call? Yeah, my name's John Jones. I want to marry your daughter. He goes, no. He goes, my son works with Bill Gates. She goes, yeah, you can marry her. Goes, hello, I want to join your company. They go, no, I'm married to Bill Gates' friend. Yeah, you can come. Do you understand? I want to...
Sorry, got me someone.
I want to set... Okay, sorry, go on, man.
Greetings, Brother Dougie, Jammers, Brother Minty, and Supreme.
Yes, greetings, Gracie.
I have been listening and enjoying the reasoning from all of you. Interesting. Why have you got no females inside there?
After some of the things we've been coming out with, do you think there's going to be any females want to stay in this room?
Sorry?
No. Let me answer the question. Because of the time, really, because of the time, it's, you know, it's hard to get. We got a challenge there. Just put it that way there, yeah. Because of the time.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. No. Okay.
Why do you say that? Just question.
Because I was just listening to the energies of our male counterparts and what they were putting forward. And Brother Minty, I think earlier made quite a few valid points. I mean, each and every one of you have made valid points, so which is nice. So it shows your feminine side alongside your masculine side, which was really nice to hear.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what's the point?
So the point. Sorry?
What do you want to bring to the table then, babe?
Oh, okay. So I was just, agreeing. I just thought I'd just quickly phone in and say, well, Minty and Jammers, they actually got it right in the sense when we talk about marriage, romance, relationships, they're all different things. and it's what our different expectations or what we're expecting or what we believe or what we think we're expecting from our partners. Also, when we talk about marriages, what's those marriages that parents play a role in?
Yes.
That happens in Africa and in parts of India. Yeah, it's looked upon as why would you want somebody else to organize or decide who would be your partner? As about one of you mentioned, the royals don't just go and pick anybody. They pick someone who is going to be able to look after that line of making sure that we have, you know, the next generation that can take on that role. So yeah, we lose out because we just go and pick. Unfortunately, we pick till we pick SH and put it on the end of it. Unfortunately, because instead of us thinking that we're going for a man that is going to be able to, he's a provider, a protector, and he's all those things, or supposed to be all those things, we go for more for make cosmetic, the way he's looking. Likewise for the man, the way she's looking. Oh, well, she's got some hips on her and she's got some breasts and all the rest of it. One of the brothers did mention that not only he doesn't want something that is just standing up there, which is just aerated. He needs something with a lot of substance. And it's only as we get older we realize that, you know, beauty is only skin deep, but we're actually looking for, whether it be male or female, a partner that has got substance within them that they can then pass on what they know onto future generations, so that that foundation is set and you're giving them a good start. So there's many areas listening to you all that you all have sort of touched on and knocked on and, you know, maybe sort of made light of it, but on a serious note, it is serious as to what we're saying and how we're saying it, because there are people out there that are thinking, well, you know, is it a serious, you know, are we talking about relationships? Are we making fun of relationships? Are, you know, how are we dealing with it and all the rest of it? I understand how you're putting it over.
Well,
But,
all right. That's quite interesting because, and I can understand why you asked the question if there's any females are in the house, yeah, to give it that female energy,
balance.
that balance, and also that seriousness as it should be. You know what I mean? Because you know, a relationship, it's you know, it's not you know, it's not something to be fun about. It has to be taken seriously. You know what I mean? Right? And a reason why, you know, to, you know, it's not, you know, this time of night you can't just invite any women just come to the studio because, you know, so we know we have challenge there and so forth, but even still, but put that aside. But you see, the thing is this, right? And I think Supreme did set the tone right when he was asking and probing the questions, right? What we want from each other, etc. And he brings us back that most relationship has started in the parties, in the dance and the clubs and whatever, right? And that's because we don't know no better. You know what I mean? We just don't. You know, it's not like say you look on a woman on TV, you can put your hand in the TV and take a woman out there and say that's your woman. It doesn't work that. You know what I mean? You literally have to go all the time. But because we haven't been coached a certain way or conduct ourselves, and not only that, we don't know our responsibility as well as man and woman. You see what I'm saying? We just want to have fun. You see, so when we get mature now, you understand? No, this thing's a lot more deeper now, and you know, because when you be in a relationship and you see things go peer shape and you see weird. You have to ask yourself, why is that? You have a question about yourself. Let me share a story, right? And this shows you where I'm coming from. I've got a brethren of mine, right, named Martin Booth. He's joined the ancestors now, right? He done a lot of workshop around relationship, right? And I said to Martin one day, so how come you start to do workshop? What on this, sir? He looked at me and he smiled and he goes to me, Doug, listen, I had women run him down with an axe, right? Run him down. But you have a woman try to run him down, right? And he said to himself, weird. You know, something about me, because he's one of a very laid back person, you know, just very laid back. And he started going the road of just personal development, reading all kind of books. Now those women become his best of friends, right? But he said he had to do a lot of work on himself. Why is I'm tracking all this madness to me? You see? And that's what I'm saying, that I mean, when you track all this kind of madness, all this kind of drama and all that stuff there, you really have to start looking at yourself, why are you tracking these kind of madness to you? You know? And it comes back to what Supreme was saying, and Minty was saying, is that, remember what Minty was talking about? You know, yes, the physical is very important, we can't deny, because that tracks you together. But you have to go beyond the physical and deal with the intelligence now, right? The intelligence. And that's where we fall short, most of us, if I would say. We just deal with the physical. We don't deal with the intelligence of the person's mind. I mean, you're young, it's gonna be that way anyway. Yeah, when you got mature now, you have to go a bit more deep now and deal with your intelligence.
Yeah, but you've still got, all right, Brother Dougie, but you've still got big men or 50-something still behaving as if they're 20-something, like as if, you know, they're still in their 20s and they're still rah-rah, rare, and this and that and all the rest of it. And you just sort of think, well, at what point do you actually grow up? And you just think, all right, if we're talking about people in their 20s or whatever it is, it's, you know, you may accept that. But then still at the same time, I would say no, because if we look back to when we go back to African culture or Caribbean culture and all the rest of it, aren't we or weren't we all right married by the time we were 18 or 20 or whatever? We were forming a relationship because we knew that we couldn't be seen or going out with a person without our parents knowing and without our parents' permission. All right, take it being old-fashioned, whatever. But still at the same time, yeah, you would get a few that slip through the net that would end up having sex or having babies out of that unit. But it still was that you had to seek permission, and I think it was mentioned earlier in your conversation, you had to seek permission from the parents or the girl's parents. Well, it has to be from the girl's parents. If you can take her out, you had to know as to what time you were bringing back. And it's all these things that we talk about, as one of the brothers mentioned as well, that we've just adopted and adapted to, you know, the environment in which we live in. But we do know, because we were under those conditions, when I say under those conditions, where our parents had played or used to play a significant role within the development or growth of that unit when you're sorting a partner. So by the time you become 18, by the time you're 21, majority of the people in the Caribbean or Africa would have would be married or would have even, you know, would be courting, knowing that their parents have their blessing. And that's what we're losing, because we're running off doing whatever we see as it being the norm because we're here. And yet we know it's not the norm, and that's why we're getting the breakdown in relationships and families, because people automatically think when they're with that person that it's just them and them. And it's not just you and them, because when you marry into, when you go into a family, you marry into the family both ways, whether you be male or female, but you're going into a family. You're picking up a sister, a brother, or a sister-in-law, or a brother-in-law, or whatever it is. It's not just you as singular, it's a whole family unit. Right. No, but that's what we're forgetting.
Yeah, but let me jump in there, because we're saying you're absolutely on point, and it comes down to the point Supreme was talking about earlier on, because me and Supreme had a conversation some time ago. We're talking about the whole thing about love school, right? Where we're taught the whole thing about relationship, our roles as men, you know, our responsibility as men, and also the women responsibility as women. It's like rites of passage, you know. So if you don't have a structure or a foundation, right? We're just willy-nilly hoping that things will work out, happy-go-lucky, happy ever after, or whatever, So let's you have these things in place, it's going to be hit and miss, because earlier on we talked about other culture, right? And you look at the royal family, for example. They have things in place. They're quite clear. When this individual is a certain age, they're gonna marry this particular person, and so on. So they're gonna have a child. And it's very calculated. Everything's in place. You see, we don't have that. You see, we don't have things.
Yeah,
in
but
place.
who says we don't have that? We do have that. It's just that we choose to ignore what we already have that's already in place. Because I can guarantee if you were in Africa somewhere...
Hold on, we have that in place. I don't understand what you're saying now.
Of course we have that in place. If you were in Africa, all right, do you think at your age that you wouldn't have had a wife and kids and all the rest of it?
No. I'm talking about Africa. We're talking about here in the We're talking about the UK.
No, but I'm just saying. In other words, it's there in place in areas, or if you were in the Caribbean or in Jamaica. Do you think?
I was really talking directly.
I know you're talking directly about here, but what I'm saying, we've come here and we've been, in some ways, what has happened is we've just adopted a European way. That's
right. So the question will be now, right? So the question will be now, then that we need to have a structure then here, right? Because
if we don't respect what we have. If we don't respect that we have an older generation, all right.
But
do we listen to our older generation?
Even you just said that, right? That you have some. Well, correct if I misrepresent information there. You said that you have some older people are still behaving very immature. They still want to check young girls, them, etc., etc., etc. Right? So I mean, obviously, there's nothing here, I would say, concrete in place to say that, because all you have to do is just go in the community, just go down the road, Hackney, Tottenham, Darston, Brixton, and just see how we behave with each other. That's all you have to do, So,
Well, for one, we need to have respect for each other, okay? Regardless of whatever age we're at.
That's true.
And you need to have respect for your wife, for your fiance, for your woman, and not as what we're hearing with the music that is being played, that is being drummed into our young people's head about the dog this and the dog that. Because I don't need you to be using the B word, okay? But if we're talking about making changes, then we need to be changing the type of music in which we're allowing our young people to be listening to, because we know that it has a certain effect on their thoughts and their thinking, because they are at an age, I'm not saying they're vulnerable, but they are vulnerable, where their mind is vulnerable, at an age where these things are being played, it's seeping in, it becomes ingrained and it becomes part and parcel of a behavior and an attitude that, that they see from everybody else, and because everybody else is doing it's acceptable. Well, it's not.
Okay, I want to bring in the other panelists who are inside the host as well, because you raised up some very interesting points. So
Yeah, I mean, Grace, I agree with everything you've said. I think that it's funny because we're in England, and some of our parents are African, some of our parents are from the Caribbean, some maybe from America even, but most part it's African and Caribbean. And I think that you may see a lot of people whose parents are from Africa, and they'll follow that kind of African idea. They'll meet the parents and they keep it. And people from the Caribbean, it's that doesn't exist. But maybe in the upper class it does. But when it comes down to the ghetto people and the people who may not be so rich, we're just following European ways, basically. So I think that you're right about the we do have a standard, but we are not following it. Or in fact, we're not just not. Some of us are just not aware of it, basically. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it is, Grace. I think that you know, if we think about this country, again, as I was saying before, most of us just go on, like, when it comes to relationships, we just follow in a European model because we don't know what the African model is. And that's the simplicity of it. And it's like, just going back to what Jammer said about this, I know women like the concept of romance, but I agree with Jammers, man. I think that if you're just a good person, you don't need to buy presents. It's nice, but do you really need a present? Or do you just want a good person in your life? You know, I mean, I just think that, buy me present and romance me, and I think it's good all that, but do you really need to do that? Isn't the real factor just to find a good person? It should not be the bottom line. The presents and all those things have to come into it. Do you want to say, go on, Supreme?
No, I'm just saying that you're not trying to make your relationship sound so bland. You want the person to feel special. So showing them and giving them gifts is like affirmations. Like, you probably go home, there's a bunch of flowers that the person ain't there. It's something that every time they look at that vase and that flower, they think, oh, that reminds me of when me and George went. Well, not George, Sandra went.
You, George?
No, well, I'm trying to.
Georgina, you meant.
Yeah, went here. So you've got to have, I don't know, you know, like, as your relationship and your bonding, you've got to have sort of good memories to go back on and have fun and laughter. You understand? So because you can, two of you are talking, you know, the two, you know, you're like, that's what I call romance.
Yeah.
You're gonna make events that you and that person are gonna have laughter and joy.
But you see, the thing is this, right? Supreme, you know, he's on it, because I mean, what he's saying is that it's about creating that moment, creating that event, those memories, you know, because put it this way, you know, you gotta be spicy, you got a little bit of variety, you know what I mean? You don't mean do the same move all the time, you know what I mean? You know, it's not like say you got to dance, do the same move. You have to do a different kind of moves. You see what I'm saying? You know, so I mean, it's good when you can able to show some kind of variety. And what Supreme is saying is that, I mean, you see, men and women are wired up differently, because it's not so much the gift or the present, right? Just that the thought of it, and the thought that they make me, you know, you may feel special. I feel special that he thought of that, give me a gift or a flower, and that's what Supreme is bringing to the to the table. You know what I mean?
I can see what. Sorry, Dougie. I can see what Supreme is saying, and I totally agree with that. I mean, if I was thinking about the two men right there and then, I'm sorry, but Minty, you're gone, because I wouldn't choose you. Too dry, right?
It's okay, but it's okay. But then you're single now, so I'll be there. I'm just teasing, you know. You know I love you, Gracie.
All of the time, I will have memorable moments. But that's not taking a dig at anybody. I mean, we're all, as Brother Dougie and as you all have been saying, we're all wired differently. But still at the same time, when we're talking about relationships, I understand exactly what you both are saying, in the sense that some men don't think, oh, well, it would be nice to bring her some flowers, and as long as she put food on the table and I come home, that's showing her that I love her. Then you've got the other men who think, well, as much as she puts food on the table, it'd really be nice that I take her some flowers, and it makes a change and it spices up a bit and it doesn't become monotonous and boring. At the same time, we talk about, when you were talking, and when Supreme was talking, I remember a story my mother was telling us as we were growing up as children, even as big as we were when she was alive, when they were alive. And she always used to bring this story of when she met my father, and it was, or they were on a bike. She was crossing over a trench, and he said, "Oh, jump on," and I'll drop you home on the crossbar. Now that is their memories, their memorabilia that they remember for themselves, that they sit down together and chuckle about those times when they had to walk down the road and they weren't allowed to hold hands. Because before, and that is where it comes back, when we talk about we not holding hands or not doing this or not doing that. And I've put it down to going back to slave times and all those times when you were to be seen as children but not to be heard and all the rest of it, where because you know that if you was to hold the boy hand before your parents know that you were seeing that person, that you would get beats anyway, because the news will get home long before you get home that they see you down the road holding hands with this boy, and you know this boy that she was walking with, and they'll give the full description of the person. So by the time you get to the front door, you don't get licked before you could even open your mouth to breathe. So I suppose that could be one of the reasons why we've cultivated or we've got into this habit that we do not hold hands or we don't do whatever. But seeing as we're getting older and, you know, we can read books and we have an understanding, as we get older and we know there's certain things that we like or we would like to do, and you know in yourself that you want to do the right thing to that person. I see nothing wrong with you holding hands and linking and chatting and kissing and all the rest of it, if that's what you both want to do. But it becomes a problem if it's something that one isn't accustomed to. Now, if in the family you're not accustomed to affection or the rest of it, then it would be deemed to you as being strange. Well, was she holding me for? Was she kissing me for? Well, what is the reason for that?
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Can I just go back to the flowers and all that stuff, just to touch on that? How many times have you heard in the relationship, Gracie, when someone goes, "Oh, the relationship was great, he used to buy me flowers," and then it goes to pot when there's no more flowers? It's got to be based on more than flowers. Do you understand? I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, plain and simple. It shouldn't be dependent.
All right, I take back what you said, Minty.
It's okay. No, I love you, Gracie, regardless. It doesn't matter. For me, it's always about behaviour and treatment. To me, okay, if you meet a woman and all you've done is buy her flowers and give her gifts, as soon as the gift stops, she's going to say, "What's going on here?"
Yeah,
that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that don't do all that, but just treat you good. And if that's not good enough for you, then you don't really know what you want. If you think the flowers and gifts is what makes a relationship, it doesn't. Because when you're old and you've got no money, gifts ain't gonna cut it. It's the way the person treats you what's gonna cut it. It's always been that. So for me, simple. If I cook a woman a meal instead of buying flowers or gifts and that makes a massive statement. Because you know, if you come home from hard work and you come into my house and you've got a lovely cooked meal there, that will make you more happy than a bunch of flowers. Or a car, I love you.
Because
a car, I love you.
My belly's going to be full.
Sorry?
And because I'm coming to your house and I know you're going to fill my belly, well, let's not go any further because it's left up to the imagination as to how the evening's going to end.
I didn't say anything like that. But let's just say experience is the greatest teacher. And I don't need to buy flowers. Good food is the greatest statement I think you can make, and good treatment. That's it. You don't need to buy flowers.
Yes,
but I'm not telling
that you want to fatten the woman up for the kill.
No, stop it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy flowers. I think that's beautiful too. Honestly, I'm saying that, but I don't think you need to do that to prove anything in a relationship. I think you just need to treat the person well. That's the greatest thing. That's just for me anyway, man. Do you want to pajamas?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, you see, it's all of, and you see, the thing is, what we're getting from here, it's not that it's just, it takes one thing, it's different things or different things that make that relationship complete. Because, all right, admitted, you do have a point there, because some women do things like that, because even I, as a woman, have to scratch my head sometime and think, what is this woman on? When he used to buy me flowers, then he stopped buying me flowers. But what is he doing for you now? Because before you were courting, now you lot are living together, so he must be buying or giving you something else.
Let me jump in here because, and Supreme can correct me, right?
I've got. Okay.
Well, Supreme can correct me, right? What Supreme was alluding, bringing us to here is that, I mean, that if, you're not talking about buying flowers every single day or once a week. We were saying every so often, right?
Yeah,
every so often that you surprise your wife, your queen or whatever, with flowers, with something nice. So she, it's your queen. You want to surprise with something. You know what I mean? So you say, oh, you make me feel wanted or whatever. So I think that's what Supreme was saying. I'm gonna and
that's what I'm saying. Supreme is absolutely
absolutely
right. But I can see what Minty is saying.
No. But what Minty is saying is that, right? That in terms of buying flowers and gifts, everything, it's not going to cut it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it. You know what I mean? Because therefore she's going to expect you to do that. When you stop doing that, then say what's happening now? And you see what I'm saying? But every so often.
Why Dougie, if you're listening to me, I'm agreeing with what Minty had said. There are some women who, because you started off buying flowers, they expect that continuously all the time.
Yeah. I'm just bringing straight. I'm bringing. Because don't get people are listening right now, so we need some clarity. With what's been said, you know what I mean? And I'm just bringing the old reason what Supreme was bringing to the table. Still seen. So we're all up on the right page, you know what I mean? Just that expectation again. Is very important to understand what we talk, because I mean, if you're buying flowers every day, you're buying flowers, you're buying chocolate, yeah, card and everything every single day, you know what I mean? Soon later that's going to when I stop now, I'm gonna say, wait, what's happening now? You used to do this, you used to do that, but I mean, come on, man, it's not about that, So, anyways, Supreme's got the
I was just looking at what Minty was saying and Grace is saying, and I'm saying that there's got to be no hidden agendas, because just to invite someone around for a meal, you're alluding to dessert. That's what I'm hearing.
Let me just say this. Yeah. No, let me just say this quickly. If you're dating someone, you're going to eventually invite them around to your house. Yeah. So that's what I meant in that sense. And then you can add so you can talk about dessert and all that in your own allegorical way. I'm just saying simply that I don't think you should. The bottom line is a woman wants to be treated well, and I agree with the surprise concept, what you said, bro. I do, and what Dougie's alluded, I totally agree with that. But I just don't think. I think at the bottom line, at the end of the day, a woman just wants to be treated well, because when the flowers stop, what have you got unless you're treating her good? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's just all an illusion, the flowers. Treat the woman well. That's all I'm saying.
Just again, there's an association with flowers that is love. So a lot of these, let's say, things that people are associated with, that somebody loves you because they've done this, doesn't mean they're gonna have to do it like Dougie says every day, or but it's, I thought of you today. There's more. We can go in really, really deeper, right? About being emotionally available, because some people, they're just so tense and stressed that they're not making themselves emotionally available. So that could be the beginning of the breakdown of a relationship, because you know what, you're not showing me the emotional side of you and where we're going with this, No, but I know you. I don't want to be good. We're going round and round. Jammers, do you want?
But you know what? Sorry, the thing is, it's not only flowers. There are many, as Brother Minty was saying, there's many other ways that one can show their appreciation for their partner, whether it be male or female.
Can I come in?
And it's not just the flowers or just the chocolates. It could be absolutely anything. You could be walking down the road and you see something that you think, as soon as you see it, your mind is taken to that person. You think, I think they would like that. if you want to, and the thing is, if you can afford to, then you do so. But if you're in a position with how the climate is of today, where we're all sort of robbing Peter to do Paul, or vice versa, whatever it is, okay, then to expect that from your partner, I think, would be a bit extreme. And that's why when something special, or you've got something special that's coming up, and you just want to give it a little boost, you can. But if there is nothing in black and white written that says that is what you have to do, because there's many different ways in which we can show each other appreciation. I know it's very late at night, so there's many different ways we can do it, and it's how we go about showing our love and affection and our respect to our partners. But we think, because of us being here, that the only way that we can show this love and affection, whatever, is by bringing the box of flowers or the box of flowers. I mean, bringing a bunch of flowers or the box of chocolate. There's many other ways that you can show your appreciation to the person. As Minty said, you can cook a meal. He can cook the meal and she can be dessert, or vice versa, or whatever you want to do. It's left up to you as individual couples to meet the needs of each other and whatever you're getting back. Most importantly, we've got to remember it's communication. It's the art of being able to communicate to the other person what you would like, or your dislikes, or whatever it is. Once you've agreed that, this is what we can do, and all the rest of it, subject to change, really, maybe we should put it down as like a contract. Not really, but, lay out certain guidelines and rules or whatever it is. I don't know. It's up to the individual what they want.
Can I come in there?
Yes, you can.
I'd just like to totally disagree with everybody in the room, every woman, every concept about love, every story, every Hollywood thing, every philosophy. I've got a formula for love, and it's love runs out when the money runs out. A group of men sat around the table to say, how can we trick women? And what they came up with is the easiest way to impress a woman: let's create a dead plant, a piece of card, or a piece of stone. And they've got together to create a business out of this. So basically, every time you say you're in love, you've got to buy something that they've created. You've got to buy their car, you've got to buy their Gucci outfit, you've got to buy their flowers, you've got to go to their restaurants, and you've got to watch their films. You've got to start to cry as well. So affection is another form of infection. Love is a business, it's a fantasy, and it's a dream.
Okay, can I just say, how are you disagreeing with me when I was saying that you don't have to buy gifts? You said you disagree with everybody in the world. In fact, you said Shabbos. Let me say this, Gracie. I like what Supreme said about making the woman feel special and the flowers. The concept of it, I said, not actually necessarily having to buy flowers in line with what Jammers has said, but just making the woman feel good. You can come home, okay, you can cook a meal, you can give her a massage. Do you understand? You can rub her feet. You don't have to. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to buy any gifts. Just make her feel good. That's all I'm saying, man. And vice versa. If you come home and your husband comes home, Gracie, and you've run him a bath, or you've cooked him a delicious favourite meal, and he's got a wine, his favourite brew, he's gonna be happy. He's not going to think, I want flowers or a card, you know what I mean? He's not going to worry about all that. He's just going to give thanks that I've got a good woman who's thinking about me. That's what I'd be happy every day I come home. And I've got a meal. Not that because I cook for my future partner. I cook, I've cooked for past partners. And I know they love it and really appreciate it. And I just think that it's those little things which are important, because, as Jammer said, if you've got no money, you can't be buying flowers, you can't be doing that. So what have you got? You've only got your personality, your character, and the love you've got in your heart, and that. I just think that should be the foundation of every relationship. Go on, bro.
I'm just really worried about Jammer because he disagrees with everything. So I want to know what your definition of love is. Because if you're saying you need to tell us what your definition, because I'm sure there's some women out there that are probably thinking, gosh, who is he? Is he human? Like, what is your definition of a relationship? Because you've basically trashed everything that we're saying. It is.
Yeah, well, as I said, it's a con game, it's a trick, it's a lie, it's deceit. If you look at the word amor, which is French for love, or Latin amor, you turn it back, it's Roma. It's the Roman antics. We're trying to be Romans, you know. We're not Romans. We're trying to be Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We're trying to be the knight in shining armor. We're trying to be like Romeo and Juliet. It's all fantasy. It's all fraud. It's all a play.
Okay. Let me jump in. Let me jump in here. Let me jump in here, because all right then. So, James, you said that.
Can I leave now?
No. If you're
Supreme set me up.
Come on, man. Let's be a bit serious now, right? If you're saying that you say you don't believe in love,
yes,
romance, and
that's right, yeah,
those things there, right? So, if you have your queen, right? I mean, the question I'm gonna ask you, right? I don't know. I'm just trying to work out. How do you? I don't use the word romance because you see no romance. But how do you entertain her? What goes on? You know what I mean? In terms of making.
Well, for some strange reason, I haven't got a queen at this present moment.
Yeah, but I mean, all right. Say you meet a potential queen. Say you do. What goes? Because I'm going to ask you, how do you entertain? What goes on?
Approach her.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
come on, jammers.
Well, it's about like our culture. Really, it's a cultural development of your highest self. Really, so developing yourself as a human being.
If you're in the front room with your queen, right? You sit down, right? What goes on, brethren? You know what I mean? Let's get, you know what I mean? What goes on? You know what I mean? What goes on? You see what I'm saying?
I think it's a family show, really, so I don't think I can really go into that kind of...
No, but there's got to be some kind of... I'm using the word romance, or you got to say some things, or...
Not really.
How would you approach a young lady? If you're in a room, there's someone in there that you fancy. How would you approach her?
So could you I didn't hear all of that. Could you just
question is...
Can you say that again?
What would be your line, or what would be... I mean, would you say, darling, shall we go out? Or will you say, I'll be going out for a meal, let's go pictures? What is your approach?
It's just developing, you know, as you say, like they say, like soulmates, or so it's developing. I think, as you say, it's more relationship. And a relationship is when you can relay information about. Relay means to give information across as it happens. So basically, you can give information like the person's character. You can develop the person's character. You know, it is to achieve things. Basically, love is about spending. Big car, you know, big romance, flowers. Where basically it's about creativity. That's what we want to create. How can we get together? As Dougie says, love is like a business. So how can we create together and create our own wealth within? You know.
Hold on, Bridget. Hold on.
Why do you want to create your wealth within?
Even though I said love is relationship is a business, right? But part of the business journey that, you know, you're going to say things to entice that person together. For example, right? When I was met my potential queen, right? One of the things I said, let's go to a movie, right? We'd like to come to a movie where we enjoy each other company, you know, put a hand around her, just feel nice, you know. And then as things start to feel comfortable with each other, we start to kiss and, you know, all the... Yes, I'm going this thing here, you know what I mean? I'm just a bit confused what
I'll let you know, right? Let me tell you exactly my tactics, right? There's a thing about that.
Bridget, we're not talking about tactics. We're not talking about tactics, but... No, because don't forget, you say you don't believe in romance and love and them thing there.
I'll tell you my tactics. You know, when I'm in the... What I'll do, I'll wear a white shirt, yeah? because, and then I'll pick up all the victims who are crying. They'll be I'm their shoulder to cry on when all the love dream crashes.
All right. I don't know where